schedule.
Right on cue.
Right on cue. We have joining with us the lovely Veronica Tiller, who's really known for her great work with the Tiller's Guide to Indian Country. A lot of people are familiar with that. And also from the Jicarilla Apache Nation
of New Mexico.
in New Mexico, that's
Yes.
right. And currently a resident of Albuquerque,
Right.
New Mexico.
Right.
And you're here, I noticed you're here with you got your booth all set up.
Right. We are announcing the debut of the 2015 edition, the third edition of Tiller's Guide to Indian Country. We're going to be offering it as an ebook and probably, I say probably, as a hard copy as well. And
Yeah.
we are also including in the Tiller's Guide, we're offering to private enterprises, tribal enterprises, and national organizations who have made a difference in Indian country in the past years. So we want to share their success stories. Like, for example, we want to show that certain companies did whatever in whatever area, whether it's in gaming or natural resource development or tourism departments or even elderly programs, because in Tiller's Guide we not only have the economic profiles, but we have information about the land, the governments, the tribal enterprises, the tribal infrastructure, community services, and environmental concerns are some of our major categories in Tiller's Guide.
Yeah,
so
and
we
a
wanna
lot of these
feature it.
groups doing great work aren't necessarily affiliated with the tribes. And so that's why you've introduced these new sections.
Yes,
Okay.
but primarily the first tier will be tribal enterprises.
Okay.
And then
Okay, I
the
see.
second one would be like companies that are working, like for example law firms who have spent almost all their lives helping to develop federal Indian law or federal policies that have helped economic development in Indian country. And we want to show the Tiller's Guide as the economic success story of Indian country, not just as a data book, but all this information like demographics.
I think that's a great idea. That's a sort of a natural progression, and because a lot of people, think of Indian country, they think of the reservations, they think of the tribal lands, but there's so much more that's being done, and they're still doing it for Indian country.
That's right. Yeah. Many organizations and companies exist primarily because of Indian country. They're consultants in various areas, and they're the ones that help with the lobbying. They're the ones that get the information out about the tribes, and Tiller's Guide is attempting to do that, to talk about the economic success, because so many things have happened in Indian country since we published the first edition in 1996. And then the second one in 2006. And the 2014-15 edition, of course, well, just kind of put the icing on there. It's just amazing what has happened in Indian country. And almost, very few people know about what's happening in Indian country. We're still being stereotyped with the idea that either we're smart or know that we've got gaming, we're also rich. But we're richer than we were before. But the amount of good we've done with this new money is amazing.
Yeah, we were just talking to John Berry from the Quapaw tribe about what they're and the programs they're providing. And I know IHS gets a bad name, but they're so underfunded that they're doing the very best that they can. So I always kind of take up for IHS. Because if you make an appointment, they usually keep it.
Yeah.
But he was saying that they've used their a lot of their money for healthcare, and that a lot of the IHS waiting rooms are just filled to the brim these days. But one of the things that the Quapaw tribe are doing is providing healthcare insurance for their members, so they don't have to wait much longer. So a lot of good things being done with gaming money. But let's turn our attention to the books, because you mentioned e-books. I remember when your first Tiller's Guide to Indian Country came out, you could use it to do
Right.
curls and workouts.
Use it as a door stop.
Yeah,
or,
you can use it as
yeah.
a door stop.
Or a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Harmon's been in the publishing business for years and years and years, and with I think one of the ideas that sort of forced this Native Media Network to really have to push forward is the fact that the hard copies are the sales are just almost bottom has fallen out pretty much, and so when it comes to you said maybe you might publish the hard copy. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts as far as producing these ebooks and not producing the hard copies.
Yeah, well, there's several advantages to the ebook, and of course, the whole industry is moving towards ebooks. It's for myself. When I buy a book, I try to buy it in the ebook version from my iPad. Because you can have like 100 books there, or you can carry it with you. And Tiller's Guide is also taking that into consideration. The second thing about the ebook is that they tend to be not as expensive as the hard copy to manufacture and to get out there. It's also would be easier for revisions, because one of the reasons that it has taken us so long to issue one copy and the next one is because of the cost of manufacturing the book in the hard copy.
Once it's printed in the hard copy, you can't go in and mark things out
Right.
or white out.
That's right. That's right. So with the ebook has many more advantages than the hard copy.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, we also have to take into consideration there are still a large audience for people who wanted to say, okay, I want to read.
See, I still like that word. In fact, yesterday, I said I need an agenda or a program for so I can use information. And they said, oh, well, you just have to go download the app. I said, no, I don't want to download. And I said, I already tried. I said, I keep losing it. I don't know. And so I said, can I? Is there somewhere where I can actually get
the hard copy.
The hard copy, so I can have it in my hand. So I'm still kind of that way too, but I'm starting to really
just like on the airlines, you can have an app to go up and show it to them,
Right.
And so that's great. But just a couple days ago, coming in from Albuquerque to Atlanta, we were at the Baltimore transfer point, and I lost my phone. And I was thinking, if I didn't have the hard copy to my boarding pass, I would have been in trouble. I would have to go all the way back and show them my ID and all that sort of stuff.
By that time, you might have missed the plane.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm still the printout person. Or if I do, I'm gonna have both in case something happens to one or.
Did you find your phone?
Yes, I'm getting a new one today.
Oh, you're getting it.
Yeah. so I'm okay there.
Okay. But look at that. I actually got the app. So I'm learning to, it's good to have both too, because if I'd have lost this.
And you know what? We have there are three big sectors in people who buy Tiller's Guide. The first category of big buyers are the federal agencies that deal with Indian country. The second category are the businesses doing business with Indian country, all sorts of business. And then the third category are the college and university libraries. And that sector, a lot of them still work hard copy. And I'm kind of like surprised that if there's any one sector you would think that's moving, the technology would be the colleges and university libraries.
And now, not only do you write or basically the researcher and editor, writer for Tiller's Guide, you also do your own fiction. Not nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
I always get those confused.
Yeah.
But nonfiction.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the books you have out are about your own Apache people. So I wanted you to tell our viewers about that, and if you have any other projects. I know Tiller's Guide's probably taking up all your time.
Absolutely.
But tell us about the book about, what was it called again?
We have several out. The latest has been It's called The Hickory Apache of Dulce. It's a photographic history.
Okay, a photographic
History of the tribe, and it goes from the time that we established executive order in 1887 to 2000, and it's just the pictorial history of the various periods and then all the photographs that we have. And that one was so successful on the tribal level, we sold out to the tribe, just the tribe, in 2 weeks, and so they had to put out another issue. And that one's still out. And then of course I've done another one called The Customs and the Culture and Customs of Apache Indians.
Yeah, that's the one I read.
Yeah. That one is more directed towards the high school audience, and it covers all the 8 Indian tribes of Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma.
The Apache tribes.
Yeah, Apache tribes. So that one is more like a primer, like here's everything that you should know about Apaches, because following Apache history was very complicated, primarily because we were more like bands, and we were like in a location, and then when they had one name, and then they might move, and then another time. So it's kind of like who belongs where and when, like duh, and you're just like all confused, and that book helps.
So I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I was like,
puts it in perspective. Where did they belong? Who belongs where, and so forth. And then of course it talks about the more modern eras, what's happening, and some big issues that's confronting them.
Now, what was it like, though, compiling the photographs to put together the book? Probably a lot of work, but when you discovered something, what was that like?
Well, one of the things that we try to do is that, there's a standard photographs almost for all the tribes, that are like at Smithsonian or the major museums throughout the country that have these collections. So they're always being rehashed, and everybody uses them, and so we did use some of those photographs. But what we tried to do is that we, because our book is more on the recent history, we got a lot of it from the tribal newspaper.
Oh, okay.
And and a lot of times tribes or people don't know that the main source of information about the tribes is still the tribes, whether you're doing Chiller's Guide or history of the tribe, it still resides with the tribe. And we had the tribal newspaper had like over 5,000 copies of photographs, and so we sorted through the newspapers, and we chose different ones to represent different sectors and different periods from our own tribe. And then we also asked for private collections.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I bet your families had.
Yeah, we were very surprised that there were collections. But then the other thing too, one of the hindrances in asking for private collections was that because we've never been really rich people,
right.
It was costly, especially in the older days, to take photographs and to develop them. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't like everybody had photographs. And my aunt, for example, she was employed by the boarding school, so she had a job and she liked to take photographs. Mm-hmm. So luckily she had a whole collection of photographs, and we used at least 10 from her collection. So, but that's an area that I think really needs to be preserved in the history of Indian people, is just the photographs, because oftentimes people look at photographs and they say, well, this is not a big deal, it's not important. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize that even the picture of a child playing with some kind of a toy, with whatever's in the background, documents that time, that history, that part.
It's part of history.
Yeah,
and the tribal history.
Tribal history.
Yep.
That's not available anywhere else,
right.
And that's very important. It's a valuable resource for us as tribal people. Mm-hmm. And then when we put it together in photographs, and of course everyone says, photograph is better than 1,000 words, and so when people began to see the photographs, and what it was telling us, everyone was like, wow, part of that, and it was such a wonderful response from the people, and we still have copies that are still selling.
Yeah, I bet. Like you said, the tribal members probably just gobbled them up.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and some of them bought not just one copy, but maybe 2 to 4 copies, something like that, you know.
Sent them to the relatives or
Yeah.
probably gave them away as
Gifts,
Christmas
yeah.
presents. And yeah, that's awesome. Okay, and so the third edition of Tiller's Guide to Indian Country is out or is soon to be?
No, the date for its release is spring 2015, which means anytime between January and March.
Right.
And we're looking more like probably February.
Okay, so that's not too far.
Yeah. And then, like I said, we're also offering those profiles to companies who are interested, who have helped Indian Country with its economic success, to contact us to consider taking a sponsorship ad in Tiller's Guide, and they can get the details from veronicatiller.com, my author website.
veronicatiller.com.
Right, veronicatiller.com, and they can also contact me through my email, which is veronicatiller99@comcast.net. And the best way to reach me is through my email.
All right, and when we get this thing going, nativemedianetwork.com, going 24 hours a 7, we're going to need content, so maybe you can give us a tour of Hickory, and that'll be part of our story.
We'll be happy to also share some of the more interesting and new developments in Indian Country in terms of the various sector. Like we have agriculture, forestry, of course, part of agriculture.
Tourism,
yes, tourism.
And also statistics.
Right,
Kids know where they can get the information.
Right.
Yeah, Harmon's pointing out the statistics, yes.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you, Veronica.
Thank you very
You're
much.
right on cue, and we appreciate it, and good luck with all your endeavors. I know that you're not only involved in publishing, but a lot of other different things, so keep up the good work. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, well, thank
And
you very much.
veronicatiller.com is where to go.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm really proud of you that you've started this and working very hard to make a go out of it, and I'm pleased that you're doing this, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on and talking to you. We'll just be in touch.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. And wow, that hour went by pretty fast. I can't believe that. That was a fast first hour, Harmon. That was an hour and 10 minutes since we first hit the air.